Rise and shine, everyone. Happy Easter to you, and welcome to 13 Sunrise. Thanks for starting your week off with us here on 13 Sunrise. I'm Matthew Foltz alongside Lindsay Monroe. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Hopefully you guys stayed dry yesterday. We know a lot of Easter plans got canceled, Lindsay, or kind of postponed, but today we're on a better foot. It's actually nice outside.
Yeah, and it's going to be much warmer now compared to this afternoon because we've got a warm front that's lifting through. Now that boundary might spark a stray or perhaps an isolated shower today, but we're going to have a lot of dry time. Wanted to start with a look at live Doppler 13 radar. We've been watching some spotty shower activity just across the border over in central Illinois. Had a little bit of rain move into our far westernmost counties, but that has since come to an end. I want to show you the bigger picture here because this is where that boundary is currently stalled. Back to our west, closer to that actual center of low pressure. It's going to be that target zone for where that severe threat's going to stay for today at bay to our west. So we are in the clear of severe weather on this Sunday, but this warm front's going to slowly maneuver its way off to the north. As it lifts through central Indiana, we're going to be looking at much warmer temperatures as our wind direction changes. And again, that severe threat setting up for central portions of Illinois and then off to the south and to the west. So for us, that means we're starting off cool, warmer air headed in our direction. We'll keep a decent amount of cloud cover around for today. Not going to be that completely sunny sky, but again, just an isolated shower, otherwise a relatively quiet day. 4 o'clock this afternoon, we are headed to 74 and eventually a high today of 76. Overnight tonight is when that next round of rain is going to move in. So here's the latest on our high resolution weather model as that warm front starts to lift in from the southwest. That's going to take these temperatures up back through the 70s, much warmer air to our south, and then along that boundary, there are those isolated shower chances that will likely develop as we get past sunset, closer to the overnight. We're going to be talking more about the rain and potentially some isolated storms embedded within that, the timeline overnight and its impacts on your Monday morning commute coming up in the full forecast.
All right, we'll see you then, Lindsay. Right now, police in Lawrence are investigating an early morning shooting that injured a juvenile. We know it happened not too far from 465 and 56th Street. Our Anna Chalker is live in Lawrence with the latest on this investigation. Anna, what are you learning?
Well, Matthew, we know that that juvenile was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, and we're nearly 6 hours after that shooting, and Crime Lab is still out here, so I'll step out of the way so you can see it. They have been investigating cars under that shield. Actually, Crime Lab just left, but they were investigating a couple cars in this area. That has been their main focus throughout the time we've been out here, are just a couple cars in the area. So working to find out if this happened out here in this parking lot or if it happened in an apartment complex. But I also want you to turn a little bit to the left as well, because there was a car that we noticed when we were here, and the crime investigator looking at this tan car right here. As you can see, the front and back windows busted out. There is a gunshot in the back of this windshield. So officers tell us they responded here to the 5700 block of Chensford Drive. That's where they found that juvenile victim with a gunshot wound, where he was taken to the hospital, and the suspect in this case remained on scene, cooperated with officers. Officers do not believe there's any threat to the community out here this morning, but they will be investigating what possibly led up to a couple of the cars being shot up in this area. What were the circumstances to this? So we're looking to get more information about that. We have reached out to Lawrence Police in hopes of getting more information, but we'll have more on this scene and this investigation coming up for you at 9:30.
All right, Anna, still so many questions in this investigation. We'll check back in with you soon. Our Anna Chalker reporting live in Lawrence this morning. Thanks. Well, back here in central Indiana, hundreds of protesters gathered at the State House yesterday to rally against policies by the Trump administration. So they're pushing back against what they call an authoritarian presidency. So among the issues are more deportations, with protesters say violate court orders. Yesterday, the rally was dubbed Shred Project 2025. It also included a different kind of action. So several nonprofits and kitchens collected food and donations to help them continue to work amid these cuts to federal programs.
So although those cuts aren't directly going to our bottom line, they are raising the need in the community and raising what we have to take on in order to do that.
Now, 13 News did reach out to Indiana Republicans for a comment on that rally yesterday, but we've not yet heard back. Another rally is scheduled for Tuesday. And just like here in Indy, hundreds of protests took place all over the country yesterday, including this one you see right here on your screen at the Colorado State House in Denver. These protests are organized by the 50-51 movement. That stands for 50 protests, 50 states, one movement. Organizers say they're now sending a message to those in power to tell people that they are watching and taking action. Russian President Vladimir Putin says there will be a temporary pause in fighting between Russia and Ukraine on this Easter Sunday. It comes as new questions over whether peace talks to end the war will actually move forward. Here's NBC's Rafael Sanchez.
In a surprise announcement, Vladimir Putin says he's ordering a 30-hour Easter truce in the war in Ukraine. The brief ceasefire coming one day after President Trump warns the U.S. will walk away from stalled peace negotiations if there isn't progress soon.
We're going to just take a pass, but hopefully we won't have to do that.
President Zelensky saying there's no trust in words coming from Moscow, but that Ukraine is open to U.S. proposals for a 30-day ceasefire. The Kremlin says the fighting will begin again at midnight Sunday, and has so far shown little interest in a comprehensive peace, despite U.S. diplomatic efforts led by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff.
Ambassador Witkoff has had not one, not two, but 3 meetings with Vladimir Putin.
But Zelensky still deeply wary after his disastrous Oval Office meeting in February.
You don't have the cards right now.
One glimmer of hope: Russia and Ukraine each releasing around 250 POWs in the largest swap of the war, wrapped in the flag they fought for and happy to be home.
Ukraine's President Zelensky says Russian artillery fire is still continuing along the front line, but he says if Russian guns do go silent, he will order his forces to stop shooting as well. The Indiana Pacers got the job done yesterday in Game 1 of their playoff series with the Bucks. The Pacers made a bold statement in dominant fashion. Our Dominic Miranda and Eli Gain watched this one courtside, and though they have a breakdown plus players' reactions to the big win.
All right, well, Dom, the Pacers on top take Game 1 in the series, 117-98 over the Bucks here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Crowd was going, crowd's happy, not much to worry about throughout the duration of this game. Pretty much start to finish, the Pacers had this one in the book.
Yeah, you saw the way they started this game, going up and down the floor. They were going to give Giannis his, right? Giannis ended the game 36-12, but not a lot of action elsewhere for the Milwaukee Bucks in this one. Under 30% from beyond the arc, and for the Pacers, Pascal Siakam was great. Tyrese Halliburton didn't light it up as far as scoring goes, but his impact was felt all over the floor. 12 assists in this basketball game. Benedict Mathurin did great, and really the Pacers, after a strong second quarter, kept the Bucks at arm's length, and not a lot of drama in this one.
Yeah, and that's sort of what you hope for, because we watch these NBA games all the time, especially the last couple of years, that if you do have a 28-point lead, which Indiana had in the first half at one point, sometimes you can't get too comfortable because you know that these guys can score and they can make the bucket whenever they want to. So yeah, as you mentioned, the balance and the depth is sort of what we've been hinging on leading up to this game, and the Pacers certainly flexed that. The starters looking great on the floor. Pascal Siakam leading the way with 25 points, hit timely shots throughout the entire game, and there were just little momentum spurts throughout that kind of kept them that distance.
Even when the Bucks were knocking on the door of getting to under 10, the Pacers stifled that right away and got this thing to the end. 117-98 winners over the Bucks in Game 1. Post-game analysis here from Rick Carlisle and the players.
The first half, our level of persistence was good, and it was consistent. Things stalled out some in the third quarter. The series is 1/7 over, and game two will be monumentally more difficult than this one.
Momentum, carried, I think, great through Gainbridge today. When you start the game off hitting shots and getting the crowd into the game, works well in your favor. So I think we did a good job of establishing the way we wanted to play early, and then, defensively just flying around.
No, I think it feels good to get the first game, but as we know, is for us to get 4. So we know they're going to make some adjustment. They're going to come back, and we got to just be ready for that.
All right, Game 2 for this series is on Tuesday, right back here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. You'd feel all sorts of good if you could have a 2-0 lead go into Milwaukee. But Damian Lillard, superstar point guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, could be back in Game 2 or Game 3. We're not sure. His impact certainly would make a difference on this series, so that's something to look out for the Pacers.
Yeah, and just magical for him to even think about returning to the floor after suffering that blood clot, going on blood thinners and that sort of thing. So, yeah, great to see him back just as an NBA fan. But for the Pacers, that certainly changes up their whole entire game plan. Maybe going to have to take a little more away from Giannis if Dame starts getting out there and lighting it up as well. All right, as he mentioned, Game 2 is on Tuesday right here at Gamebridge. We're going to have all of the highlights and analysis leading up to it, as well as post-game reaction as well. All right, from Gamebridge Fieldhouse, alongside Dominic Miranda, I'm Eli Gain, 13 Sports.